Phantom Menace. 25th anniversary re-release in theaters. This is one episode of my reaction. First, immediate reaction following viewing The Phantom Menace in theaters after 25 years and having first encountered Star Wars in 1977 at the age of 10. And so you'll do your math there and see what year I was born. And then after that, then came The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, these were amazing movies, and no one had ever seen anything like that up to then. At least I hadn't, and none of my friends had either. It was absolutely incredible, amazing, mind-blowing, imagination expanding. And keeping in mind, this is just one part. Well, this whole story here proceeds to my review of The Phantom Menace, 25th anniversary re-release in theaters. But I first encountered Star Wars on the big screen in 1977 at the age of 10. And that's the way you're supposed to watch that movie, is on the big screen. And that's the same way with The Phantom Menace. When I saw The Phantom Menace in 1999, then I was age 33. And then, of course, I took my own children to see it. And at that time, they were 6 and 3. And they were in grade school and preschool. And so, of course, our kids grew up with Star Wars, starting with the Star Wars release in theaters, the specialized editions, which I did take my kids to see all of those movies, Star Wars, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And then, in 1999, we saw The Phantom Menace, and I was completely blown away. The opening title crawl, I actually remember when I first saw it in theaters in 1999, electrifying, felt electric in my skin. And part of that was just pure nostalgia, because I didn't know what it was going to be. I thought I knew what it was going to be, but I didn't know, and I was hoping it was going to be what I remembered it was at the very end of Return of the Jedi. And at the very beginning, which was Star Wars, which by this time we were calling A New Hope. And let me tell you, in 1999, when I first saw that, encountered that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, turmoil has engulfed the galaxy. This is the moment when I knew Star Wars was it. This was the real Star Wars, and it was back. And I actually cried during the opening title crawl at that showing in 1999. And I think I saw that movie at that time, The Phantom Menace, in 99, and whenever else it was released following immediately. Probably at least 7 times, almost always with one of my kids, the younger child, who was at that time 3 years old. And now, again, fast forwarding to our time now, 25 years later, 2024. And then, of course, I'll get to the details of what I think of the movie. But first, the encounter of this movie 25 years later. So, yes, I'm going to get to the details, but first, the encounter. As I said, the encounter initially was Star Wars 77, electrifying, mind-blowing. Never saw anything like it. Loved it and knew it. This is where it all begins. Star Wars Episode 1. It's the same as taking one step from 1977 to 1999 to 2024. This is the real Star Wars. When I sat down in the theater, it was exciting. They had some trailers, and this time around I went ahead and got popcorn, candy, the whole thing, bottle of water, and I was just going to encounter the movie. But I was really excited. I I'm telling you, I haven't seen this movie on the screen for 25 years that I can remember. On TV, watched it over and over, have reviewed it frame by frame, written extensively on the prequels, analyzed the writing, performed essays on George Lucas, written these essays on George Lucas. I have lived with these movies since 1999. Watching The Phantom Menace on videotape, VHS, every day for an entire year, 2 times a day for a year. One year in particular, I remember this because every year I would sit down at a certain time and do a certain task that had to be accomplished around the house. And while that was going on, I would have in front of on the TV screen, always at all times, playing The Phantom Menace. And this would have been about the year, possibly, maybe 2000. No, 98. No, I'm sorry, 2001. Never mind, got off on a tangent, didn't relate. Got to get back on track here, and that is my initial reaction to having encountered again Phantom Menace on screen after 25 years. And let me tell you something, George didn't miss a beat. This movie holds up, and I mean it holds up and beyond. Just as Star Wars is meant to be seen on the big screen, so is The Phantom Menace. It's supposed to be seen on the big screen. It's a movie, and this is a movie's movie. This is a movie lover's movie. Lights, camera, action, writing, dialogue, casting, acting, directing. This one has it all. I mean, this is up there with any of the classic movies I can ever remember reading about or having personally seen in any venue. Everything I'm not here to talk about any other movies that are iconic or classic in any way, but just a first guess, my encounter with The Phantom Menace 25 years later, breathtaking, awe-inspiring, in fact. Imagination going wild. George Lucas going overboard in a few places, and you can really see it. It's a piece of art, magnificent. And you see it all, you feel it all, you hear it all. As it's designed by the creator to be encountered. Every detail, richness of texture, composition, heart, soul, blood, and sweat. Not to mention special effects and CGI that are literally off the charts, the gold standard by many ways today. Jar Jar Binks looks better than ever. Ahmed Best, amazing performance. This is where you see it on the big screen. This is the last, by the way, this is the last Star Wars film to be shot on film. It looks amazing. Amazing special effects, CGI, meticulously implemented, designed with purpose and with heart. And you can see it, and you can feel it, and you can even taste it and smell it. The richness and the depth of this world that you encounter on the big screen is not the same as you would see it on the small screen or, analyzing it frame by frame. To see it laid out as a story and an unfurling mural, if you will, and a picture of images and sound beautifully combined. The way it was meant to be shown and to be experienced. This is just part one of my first and immediate reaction to and thoughts on The Phantom Menace, the 25th anniversary. Re-encountering this movie again 25 years later in theaters. And Jake Lloyd, amazing. This is where he really shines on the big screen. You can really see it. Absolutely moving, laughing, crying. I can't even tell you, really, I gotta take this in the next episode to explain this. The performance delivered by Jake Lloyd and Cornelia August in this movie as Anakin Skywalker and Shmi Skywalker, respectively. It is absolutely heart-moving. And you see this on the big screen. You encounter this, and you're enmeshed in the story. You're sitting there, and you are part of this world. And Jar Jar Binks brings you in. It's a movie for all ages, all ages, with mature adult guidance. Also, to encounter it in a theater where you're sitting comfortably as it was designed, with some ambient other noises going on about, possibly bags crackling or people crunching their candy or popcorn or slurping on their drinks, or doing whatever people do in theaters. But that's the way these shows, these movies, these pieces of art are meant to be displayed and encountered within the spectrum of real life and humanity, to encounter it with other people and other human beings. And the artist then presents a piece of art, and yeah, it can be hung or displayed on any venue or in any way. But when it's shown on the venue for which it was designed, and in this case, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace is designed for the big screen. My first encounter with this after 25 years, wow. I literally felt like a 10-year-old again, a 10-year-old kid again, a 10-year-old boy again, if you will, as boys, mostly in the 70s, or most of my friends that I knew were mostly boys, and we all had the same experience with Star Wars in some way that was similar to one another, to each other. And upon encountering this movie again, 25 years later, I do feel again the same connection with my family, as we have all been watching it and participating with this big event as a family from across the country and around the world, as our family is now spread out all over. But I was able to watch this movie in the theaters with my spouse, and we enjoyed it, and we shared it with our kids again. And it's just been a beautiful experience to being able to see this movie again 25 years later. I felt like a 10-year-old again. You see this on the big screen. The Phantom Menace is designed for kids. It is a kids movie with serious themes infused throughout, embedded in the story and helped along through the characters to explain. The close-ups on the actors, you see this better than ever on the big screen. These are details I'll get into in the next episodes, but suffice to say on this one, The Phantom Menace Episode 1, 25th anniversary rewatch encounter in theaters. After having just viewed it 3 times in theaters over the course of 7 days, I say, not only does this movie hold up, this movie's better than ever, baby. George Lucas, 10 out of 10.